The Knickerbockers had decided to poleaxe their head coach, Tom Thibodeau. He gone. Bye-bye. He's out of there. Now, this is 1 year after signing a 3-year big money extension with New York. Thibodeau is kicked out of Gotham. Get out of here. So New York will be looking for a new voice to bark underneath Penn Station there. Try to get over the hump. 5 years of Coach Tibbs and no more. The Knickerbockers say bye-bye. Still trying to win a championship for the first time in over 50 years since the early 70s, which was before the internet. We know that. It was before cable television existed. In fact, in 1973, more people were listening to radio than were watching even television. It was a crossover point back then, but radio was much more popular even then than television. So it's been a minute. So let us discuss the question. Did the Knicks do Coach Tom Thibodeau dirty? Did they do him dirty with this pink slip? So I've got infomercial, Sesame Street, and iPad. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice trip to Cancun. Now, Tom Thibodeau does not appear to be the kind of guy that would go to Cancun, but he can afford it, and he's got plenty of free time. Plenty of free time. So my first thought here, as I learned from one of my teachers as a kid, that my teacher was named Dr. Seuss. I think that Dr. Seuss got canceled somewhere along the way, but not in my world. So Dr. Seuss taught me when I was a child that sometimes in life the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. And this would be one of those times. The answer to the question that we posed, whether or not the Knicks did Tom Thibodeau dirty, is abso-freaking-lutely. That is the answer here. We're talking about a basketball travesty. Of course, knowing it's just basketball. What is that? From a pure just hoop head perspective. All right, now we can question how much coaches matter and all that stuff, and why do you even need a coach? That aside, that conversation, we've had that conversation, you and I. But that aside, you just talk about from the basketball side, like, what are you doing here? I mean, seriously, what are you doing? Watching Tom Thibodeau coach the Knicks over the last 5 years, I'm a big fan of infomercials. When I was a little kid, I hung out at night watching infomercials back in the old days, and I love infomercials. I remember it was one infomercial that was very popular, old school infomercial. It was the Jack LaLanne. Most people don't even know who that is anymore. He's gone. But Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. It was a very popular infomercial. And I was thinking about that when I was watching the fallout from the coaching change in New York, because Coach Tibbs squeezed every ounce of talent out of that roster, that locker room, however you want to say it. And it was like he was taking a rock and juicing a rock, and he got something out of it. He did. They had back-to-back 50-win regular seasons. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the regular season. Okay, back-to-back 50-win seasons. Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a generation, a bleeping generation. And doing that while looking like a swamp donkey coaching the Knicks. I mean, his whole life depended on every game. He was bedraggled. He just did not care about his appearance. He just was trying. He was a coach, and that's it. Big Apple Fashion Week in Manhattan, and he's out there like a slob because he's just a coach. He's just grinding away every single game and all that stuff. And he helped. It wasn't the only reason. It wasn't even the main reason. The players are ultimately the ones that matter. But that being said, Tom Thibodeau took over a team that was a laughingstock. Everyone would point their finger and say, ha ha, like Nelson from The Simpsons. And it turned that into a team that would punch back and did punch back. And professionally, let me be clear. You've got two dimensions at the same time, because you've got the professional dimension from a hoop standpoint. Man, that blows. Boy, does that blow. And then on the other side, you've got the personal side of it. And financially, in that dimension, This is a wonderful mitzvah for Tom Thibodeau because the Knicks, if my Maller math is correct, the Knicks have to pay him $30 million to do nothing. He doesn't have to work again. He can go move to Key West and smoke weed all day and all night and all that and just knock himself out. Go play pickleball. He'd sit on a sofa for the next several years and just watch TikTok videos, and the Knicks got to pay him $30 million. I mean, my God, what is wrong with that? But yes, you've got two different things going on. Because it does not appear that Coach Tibbs is hardwired to be that guy who's just like, hey, I don't really care about whether I work or not. He seems like a guy that actually likes his job, takes pride in his work, doesn't cut corners, things like that. Now, page 2. So the question is, who done it? Oh, it's a great mystery. Oh, it's just sports radio. Yeah, but so who done it? This is not the kind of a move that is normally made. Hey, you overcame the odds. The Knicks were not supposed to even get to the Final Four of the NBA this year, and they did. So who pulled the trigger? Who's the one that's fingerprints are on the trigger there to move to change coaches for the Knickerbockers? So there's this great debate. There are a couple of camps here that there's 3 possibilities, like triangle. There's 3 possibilities. I'm going to give you the possibilities, A, B, and C, and then you make the call. But I'm actually going to make the call first because I have the bully pulpit. So I'm going to make the call before you. So the very top, you always start out with the disgruntled star player because that's what usually happens in that business. LeBron snaps his fingers, coach gets fired. All right, that's normally how that works. Nikola Jokic has a problem with Michael Malone. He gone. Doesn't matter. 3 games before the end of the regular season, the coach is gone. It's called the coach killer. I don't get the sense that's going on here. Not to say that Jalen Brunson and Tom Thibodeau were sitting around the campfire and smoking and singing Kumbaya and all that. So I don't think that was going on. There was a pretty good relationship. Jalen Brunson fully blossomed under the guidance or the tutelage or just the freedom to play from Tom Thibodeau and became an all-NBA level player where the hot take artists are like, hey, wait a minute, this guy's like in the same category of this guy and that guy and blah, 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 just like that. Now, we believe they had a sincere bond. Now, maybe we're gullible. It's possible. What do we know? I don't get the sense, and I'm not great at the English language. I don't really know much. I know some weird random words from different languages around the world. But body language, oh, man, that's my wheelhouse. I know the body language. And right there, right? So it's not the player. Well, then you go, well, what about the executive? Was there bad blood? And Leon Rose was the executive, the president of basketball operations, I believe is the official title. So was it Leon Rose? What about the owner, James Dolan? So I have looked at the available evidence. I have deliberated in the jury room. I do not believe it was Leon Rose. I don't. I do not think it was Leon Rose. Leon Rose, before he came to the Knicks, was the agent for who? Tom Thibodeau. Yes. They were buddy. Leon Rose called the NBA. Hey, we got to hire this guy. Hire Tibbs. Okay, so I don't buy that. Now, agents are slime balls and sleaze balls. I have had agents, and they're generally losers. They're just bad people. So it's conceivable, maybe 2% that Leon Rose is just a snake, and he did. But I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I look at Sesame Street. And at Cookie Monster, who lives on Sesame Street, and you follow the cookie crumbs. And when you follow the cookie crumbs, they lead back to James Dolan. The plot thickens. James Dolan had his hand in the cookie jar, and that's where I'm going. The Knicks were the popular pick by popular people. Once they upset the Celtics, you had a celebration through the Canyon of Heroes. You had the Knicks fans throwing trash in celebration. Everyone was saying, oh, the Knicks got this. They got home court at the Garden. They're playing the Hicks from Indiana. There's no way they're going to lose that series to the Pacers. Are you kidding me? It is a layup. And if we saw that crap, I'm pretty confident that James Dolan going to his Hampton hoedown and schmoozing and drinking those Moscow mules and the Long Island iced teas, hanging out with oligarchs and aristocrats and all the things that rich people do, the 1% of the 1%, they were all, oh, you got this, Dolan. This is great. You're ready to go. Way to go, James Dolan. Oh, my God, this is amazing. And so they were quick also. The other thing, even if you don't believe that I'm right, the thing that is the dead giveaway, the Knicks using useful idiots in the media, their buddies behind paywalls, the Knicks made sure to say that it was Leon Rose's decision. They leaked that. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us it wasn't Leon Rose's decision. That tells us that he was not the one that made the call, that he is being propped up as the fall guy. They got to blame somebody because it's not a popular move, so they're going to blame him. It was an irrational move by Dolan, the owner of the team. The Knicks had a plumbing issue. Think of it this way. You got a problem with your plumbing, and instead of saying, I'm going to call like Roto-Rooter or whatever, I'm going to call some plumber, instead of calling or go to the website, sending an email, getting the plumber, James Dolan determined that the best solution to the plumbing problem, to the leaky faucet, was to burn the house down. Hey, the faucet's leaking a little bit, so let's burn the damn thing down. Let's do it. Which is, I believe the word is beta. That is a beta move by Dolan. Now, the last word, quickly, the last word here. Where do the Knickerbockers go now to replace Tom Thibodeau? Like, what's the chess move here? Now, you got the gambling market. The gambling market, they immediately said ex-Knicks associate coach Johnny Bryant. We don't really know who that is, but apparently he's the darling, the next big thing in coaching, Johnny Bryant. Bryant has been with Cleveland. He is a finalist for the Phoenix Suns job. Some saying the reason the Knicks fired Thibodeau when they did is because they want that guy, and to get that guy, they had to do this because otherwise Bryant would go coach the Suns, and he'd be out in the desert hanging out with cactus, and they didn't want that and all that stuff. The other read on the gambling market, you got Kenny Atkinson, who's the second choice, and he's the coach of the year who lost to Indiana, so he knows a thing or two about that in the playoffs. And then you've got the usual rejects like Frank Vogel and Budenholzer and names like that, and then further page down, Patrick Ewing, Mark Jackson, long shots. Unrealistic options. And so now we do not know, our crystal ball is not working right now. We do not know who the next coach of the Knicks is going to be, but we do know what they're going to be like. And I will guarantee the profile. You know how the FBI does profiling of what they think some wackadoodle is, like what they're like. So here's the profile of the next Knicks coach. Okay, the next Knicks coach will be an innovative offensive mind, a player's coach who likes drinking oat milk and hanging out, doing hot yoga, drawing up plays on his iPad while doing hot yoga. That'll be the next coach, right? The coddle coach. Because you go from a hard-ass coach like Tom Thibodeau, and hard-ass is relative. It's, come on, it's not that. It's not a drill sergeant at Marine boot camp, but it's by NBA standards. So you have a coddle coach who drives the Mr. Softy truck. You've got that. And that'll be somebody that comes in here and like rubs shoulders with the people hanging out those art galleries over in Soho, the art gallery crowd, and goes to Fashion Week, and dresses up as fashionista and all that stuff. Just everything that Tom Thibodeau isn't. Like Thibodeau didn't care about all that crap. He's just worried about coaching, and he obviously doesn't take any pride in his personal appearance. He looks like Shrek, and the next coach will not be that.